Hey everyone, it's Eric from firearmtutorials.com, and today I'm going to talk about installing the H&K ambidextrous lever control on the USP. So what I've got here is a tactical. Obviously it's just got the standard lever on it, so we're going to swap it out here. And of course this gun is unloaded. I check all of these before I do this, but this is actually not too complicated. It's actually a pretty easy install. If you're not familiar with the USP and all of its internals, then it can be a little intimidating, but I'm going to show you the specific parts that you need to mess with and the ones you don't need to mess with. So the tools you'll need, 2 punches really to make your life easy. I've got a 3/32 and a 1/16. So those are the 2 we're going to use. Obviously the ambidextrous control lever itself. So let's go ahead and take a look at the internals here and what we're going to have to do. So the first thing you're going to want to do is remove the detent plate here. And to do that, all you have to do is, there's a single pin right here that moves, adjust the lighting here, that moves, or there's a single pin that holds a lot of the internals here. You see it goes from here all the way through, and then it's over here on the other side. So we just need to move it just enough to where it's flush with this plastic piece, and then we'll bring the slide plate out. Sometimes you can do this with your finger. It just kind of depends how tight it is there. I just did it with my finger, and you see the plate starts to come out. So take this out. It's under a little bit of tension, so be careful that it doesn't go flying out anywhere. And it does have a little bit of grease on it, so try not to rub all the grease off, because it helps move the lever a little bit. So once we've got that part out, you'll notice that the lever it feels a little funky because that detent plate kind of holds it in place. There's one other part that's holding it in place, and that's the disconnect, which is the piece up here. And to remove that, we do the same thing. Now I pushed that retaining pin this way to get that plate out. We need to actually do the same thing here. So just push that through, and again, you might be able to do it with your fingers, but I'm going to go ahead and use the punch. And what you want to do is make sure you do just enough to where you get, that's not far enough, just enough to where you've got it enough to get just the disconnect out. I think I've just got to get it a little, oh, like I said, you don't want to do too much. So there, and that lifts straight out. Same thing, you see a little bit of grease on there. And be careful about this pin, because if you take it out too far, you're going to make a lot of extra work for yourself if you have to mess with the sear and these other components in here. So try not to get these, try not to do what I just did. Okay, so now you're going to want to take your 3/32 punch and push it down. You're going to have to put tension on the flag here, and you're going to want to put this guy in its 12 o'clock position. You see you push down like I have here, and this will pull out. Once you've got it here, just keep tension on it and pull it straight out. It might take a little bit of elbow grease to get it out, but so you'll see right here, get a better look at this. There, you see that metal piece in there, and as I was putting the tension on it, you see it opens the hole up so that that lever can get in there. So now all we have to do is put the new one in. Same process, we're going to have to push that flag down. The flag isn't the technical term, but I've seen it called that. I don't remember exactly what that piece is called, but it's the same process. There we go. See, I had to turn it kind of 12 o'clock again and keep the tension, and now it's slid back down. So now we're going to basically just reverse the process. Once you've got it in there, we will put the disconnect back. So let's just back this out a little bit. Of course, it's going to be difficult. I think I backed it out too far again, and then we're just going to put our disconnect right back in there. Now you'll notice what's going to happen here is this part is actually going to go over the lever like so inside the gun, and then this hole here is where the retaining pin is going to go. So might be a little tight in there, but you don't want to go too far down in there because then you have to mess with all these pieces. So just take your time and try and do it slow. Of course, I made a little bit more work for myself by getting this pin not in the right place. And if you ever get stuck with this, this is how I cheat, is I'll use another USP and I'll look at the parts if you have another one, or you can look at the exploded view too in the manual. I've used that before too. Alright, so now I've got the disconnector back in, and you see I've got the pin pushed all the way through so that I've got enough space to get the detent plate back in. Now when you put the detent plate back in, it has to catch in a certain place. So you see how it's moving that lever? That's what you want. You want it to catch that lever, and then you have to put enough pressure on it, just like so. See, and then I push that from the other side. I pushed it with my finger. You may have to use a punch depending on how heavy it is, but so now we've got our usual functionality back with the detent plate and the safety. Now all we have to do is put the other side on and put this roll pin in. Now sometimes this is a pain in the ass, sometimes it's not. So what I try to do is just get it on there and get it started. See, I put it through the plastic there as best I could, and then I'll just attach the rest of it here. So that should be pretty good, assuming everything's lined up the way that it needs to be. Still getting a lot of drift. Okay, there we go. It's starting to go in now. You see I've got a little bit there. So I'm going to switch to the littler one to finish it and get it nice and flush. Of course, you gotta be pretty precise here because you don't want to. All right, go down just a little bit more. All right. So that looks good. Let's go ahead and test the functionality here. Decock, safety, fire. Much better for all you lefties out there. So that's the ambi install, and you're left over with one V1 lever. Now the instructions I showed you will also work. I mean, the process is the same if you have a V2 lever, which would be the same single-sided, but opposite here for a left hand only. Of course, the letters would be reversed. But the same process applies as far as how you remove it and how you put it in. So that's it. Hope that helps you guys, and thanks for watching.